Welcome and blessings.
Welcome this afternoon. We are so happy to be back with you on the air. And I trust that everyone would have had a great day so far. And we are looking forward to just spending this time with you to share about lust or love. And
Wow.
we thought that this topic is such a timely one simply because
Mhm.
there are a lot of relationships that are not working out. And the thought then comes to mind, could it be that it was lust rather than love that caused the relationship to get started? Now, while we understand that there are some relationships
Mhm.
that develop, that can develop in a positive way with lust or from lust, right? The majority of the relationship, if it's not built on love, then when lust subsides, because it takes some time, but when lust subsides, then what? If there is no love, then that relationship is going to head down a rough, rugged path. But we want to know that when you start your relationship, you are starting your relationship on the right foot. Love. Love is the main source in that relationship. And if we can do that, then you will have a healthy marriage. Now, we want to just talk a bit, Dr. Alvin, and I didn't introduce, but we are so happy to have Dr. Alvin with us, and I'm Dr. Marie McDonald, and you're listening to the Relationship and Marriage Hour on the Love Bay Afro Beat Music Talk Radio. Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. And it's the number one African Caribbean diaspora online radio. So we are so happy that we are here with you this afternoon. So, Dr. Alvin, when you think about the word lust, what do you understand or what do you think?
Okay, when I think about loss, I think that loss is selfish, which is the opposite of love, which is an unselfish act. Um, when we think about lust, lust seeks to fulfill and to gratify itself, whereas love seeks to help or to support someone other than yourself. So loss is the opposite of love, and when it comes to feeling, some people can mix them up because they could feel the same. They can feel the same, but yet they are totally different in their agenda, in what they are seeking to fulfill. And you said it perfectly, uh, Dr. Maria, that um, lust subsides, whereas love never dies. You cannot drown it, you cannot destroy it. Love is forever.
Mm, that's great. Now, majority of relationships, especially among the Gen Z, the younger folks, and some of the elder folks as well, they may see someone that they're attracted to,
Hmm.
and right away they feel that that's love. Can you tell us whether you meet someone for the very first time, you're attracted to that person? Can you tell us whether that is really love? How do we
Oh,
know the difference?
boy, uh, that's a very interesting and a very powerful question. Um, because I have heard stories of people who said that they fell in love at first sight. Um,
Yes.
that is far and in between, and few in between. That tends to happen. I kind of think though that love grows. love, when I think of Tanya, I love Tanya more now than I did 24 years ago. And one of the reasons for that is because in our journey of togetherness, I am learning more about her. So there's more love. Um, but boy, I don't think it was love at first sight, but it was something that we grew into. Um, so to answer your question, boy, I don't really know if people. Uh, that's rough. Love at first sight, I guess it could happen because people say so, but for the most part, no. I don't think it's love. It could be lust, and I could give you a story, um, a personal story. When I was contemplating a future with Tanya, um, I had a conversation, and in that conversation, I was asked these questions: Alvin, do you love Tanya? And I said, oh yeah, boy, I love Tanya. Love her with all my heart, my spleen, my liver, you name it. Then the question came to me, what if she was in an accident tomorrow and was disfigured? Would you still love her? Then I had to stop and think. Say, boy, she ain't gonna look the same way she look now. I and I thought for a while, Dr. Maria, and then I came and I said, you know what? Yeah, I can still love her. Then the question came back, what if she lose a limb or two? Will you still love her? And then it even asks, what if she step out and do the unthinkable, which is to have an affair on you? Would you still love her? And I said, wow, how could you expect me to love in those extreme circumstances? And the reply I got was, because that is love. Love knows no evil. It envies not itself, is not easily puffed up, it seeketh not its own. Um, love is patient, love is kind, long suffering. And I'm like, oh, wow. Then my eyes were made open that for a part of our relationship, the beginning, it was more out of lust than it was out of love. But as we got together and got to know each other, love developed and love grew. Did that answer your question?
Sure did, and that's powerful. So can you tell them, you realize that it must have been lust initially and then love grew. Can you tell how long it took before you realize it was now relationship can have lust and love. Let me make sure I establish that. You have if you love someone, you they of them for love go together. But love itself, so how long do you think it was before you realized you had moved out of lust and it was just love?
For me, at the
I
initial
know it sounds like a redundant question. Hmm.
for me at the initial because to Tanya and I, we were friends. Our relationship started out as friends. We were friends, and then all of a sudden I realized that I was attracted to her. Now, if that's what we're calling or we're branding as lust, a physical attraction, then yes, that developed our, in our friendship. And it wasn't until I sat down, I can't even give a time frame, Doc, whether it was a year, a year and a half. I don't know, be be because we were friends, and it was a long distance friendship, but we made it
Mm.
a point to talk frequently. Um, I was teaching in Grand Bahama, and she went back to university, so she could have gotten her bachelor's and master's degrees. And I realized that it was more than friendship when it was okay. Well, we didn't talk this week, and I missed the fact of us not talking. Whereas I had other friends that I talked to for months, and it was nothing, not talking to them. But I missed the talking to her, and then in the talking, I not just fell in love with the way she think, the way she carried herself, all of that started to happen. Now, I can't put a pin on it to say this is exactly when that happened.
Right.
So I am not quite sure.
Okay. Now, the reason I asked that question is because uh, if if it's strictly a relationship where there's more love than lust, it would take at least a year to 2 years for that to subside, and then you
The
find that
lust,
for the lust to subside, and the lust is that strong desire, you want to go and lay with this person, and you want to just have time with that person, right? But when it moved from that point, then it's love, and you can tell the difference because then you begin to care about that person. You begin to have a deeper, you know, desire to build a relationship, to know this person in a better way, you know. So that is what makes the difference when
mhm,
you know when it's pure
yeah.
lust. Yeah. So
And see, yeah. So, and that's what I was saying at the get go, is that lust is a selfish desire, whereas love is a selfless desire. Um, and if we go biblical, we know the story of David's son, uh, who thought he loved his sister Tamar, and he ended up, if you read that story in the Old
yeah,
Testament, he ended up raping her. He
pure lust.
basically he raped her,
Yes,
because he told her, he thought it was love. Oh, I love you and I got to have you. But after it was over, after that activity, the sexual activity was done, the Bible said that he hated even seeing her.
that's it. Perfect example.
So therefore we realized that he was never really in love with her. He was
No.
lusting after her.
Yes.
And that is why I say lust is a selfish, you're trying to fulfill a selfish
Desire.
desire.
Hmm.
But if
That's
he
right.
had loved her, he would have done the right thing according to their custom of the day, is that he would have gone to the king and
Right.
asked for her hand in marriage, so that he could have be with her for the rest of their lives. But
That's right.
from the time of the sexual encounter, he did not even want to see her ever
No.
again.
That's it. And that is what happens when there is pure lust. You know,
Yes, yes.
once that need is satisfied, and you usually the person don't really care. And sometimes you'd find they stay in that relationship out of an obligation.
Mhm.
And then there's always that constant fight from the other party. They become obsessive, or you would find that they can't do without this person. And so all of this is not a healthy relationship. You see problems when lustful relationship. And it's sad persons that be in relationship thinking that it's love, and simply because they would have gone through the lust stage and they felt that they loved this person. But if you stop long enough and begin to list what you have in that relationship, then you realize that, I don't really love this person. So it's important that when we talk about meeting and dating a person, especially for the first time, you must get to know that person in a deeper way. You must find out more about them, whether you're compatible. It shouldn't just be about lust and you trying to, um, just satisfy yourself. And that's why a lot of relationships are in problem. So,
Yes, and see, and that's why
I,
that
I,
that question you asked is so hard for me to answer. Is whether we could love at first sight, because at first sight I only see physical. So what did I fall in
right.
love with? If it's just surface, if it's just physical, more than likely that
Hmm.
physical attraction is what we are calling lust, and that is not love.
Yes. No.
So on the at face value, there's nothing wrong with that physical attraction, because we have all been made sexual beings, and men will be attracted to women, and women will be attracted to men. That's
Hmm.
just how God created us. However, we must
That's right.
tame that feeling of attraction, be because you can be attracted to more than one person.
Hmm.
Nothing's wrong with
That's
that.
right.
But God expects you to be intimate with only one, and that's the one you are
Only
married.
one.
Yeah,
That's right. That is true. That is
yeah,
true. And that that I believe once persons are aware that lust is not love,
hmm,
then um, relationships should be able to develop. Mind you, lust is just passionate desire after something. In relationship, it's either sexual. With love and lust, it's passionate, but you also have compassion. That's the difference.
hmm,
With just lust in itself, you could like Tamar and his sister. That's the proper pronunciation. He had a sexual desire, and that was it. When that was
yes,
over, he walked away.
hmm,
And what women must realize too, men are not like women.
not at all.
Women tend to want to cling. A man satisfy himself and move on.
Hmm.
And that is why there are so many problems in relationship. He has no emotional tie. It was just a lust. So he can walk away and think nothing about it. On the other hand, then the woman is running after him, can't do without him. He can't do no wrong. She's in love, and he was in lust. And
Hmm.
that's why we have to obey what the Word of God says. You know, when we think about love in comparison with lust, love is something we give, right? We can give love away. And we give love because we want to help. We want to know that other person. If you don't love a person, this then you could understand, Doc, why people do not tolerate certain things in relationship. It's
Yeah,
a, a mutual agreement they find themselves in. You satisfy me, I satisfy you. It's mutual. But when love is in the picture, you care about what that person feel, what that person go through. You work with them, you help them get over, and you try to bring out the best in them. And the good
yes,
thing is, this is how we sing, Doc, that love is something that you give it away. When you give it,
hmm,
you end up having more. And it's
it's
the
just
same way. When you help that person, your spouse, then eventually you do for him, you do for her, it's going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason nothing is coming back is because we got mixed up and we stopped right at lust. And
Mm-hmm.
we didn't find out that person. We didn't get a deeper understanding or knowledge about that person. And then when we find that we are too deep in it, it's harder to get out. Your thought, Doc?
So true, so true. And then too, because some people mistake lust for love, um, because initially they basically wear the same clothes, love and lust, that they go full out, all out for lust, to find out in the process that, boy, this is not love. But just like you said, they didn't invest a year, they didn't invest 2 years, even 5 years into it, and then they say, well, I ain't going no place else, so they settle for the loss. Whereas love lasts forever. Loss is a temporary feeling. So if you lost, if you're in a lost relationship, when when your party has removed themselves, then, boy, that's interesting. So I encourage people, and oh, and this is another thing here, Doc, that
Mhm.
we say, loving love until you test it. It has to be
Ah,
tried in the fire. So
yes.
anyone who come and tell you they love you, and like we say here in the Bahamas, and when the rubber meets the road, when hard times come and they're nowhere to be found, that right there is a testimony of their lack of love. And the my parents and the older people used to say, when people tell you and show you who they are, you should believe them.
Believe them is right. And
Yeah.
there is, I don't know, for the Caribbean, persons may know it and may call it something different, but it is normally said, I am not marrying a pig in the bag.
Ah,
I don't know,
yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard that phrase, meaning that they
Yes,
have to
yes,
taste
I
the
have.
water before they go into it. Why? Then it takes you to the point. Is that love?
Yeah.
Will you call that love?
You want to know where I stand on that? Oh Lord, I can take you all the way from Genesis straight to Revelation right now.
Okay.
If you do it the way God had originally intended it to be, technically there won't just be one pig in the bag. There'll be two pigs in the bag.
All right.
What do I mean by that? In God's perfect plan, one man supposed to meet one woman, and they have all of their experiences with that one person. So you fail and you are successful, all of that with that one person. But because some of us have gone out tasting other people pig in the bag or pig, now we want to say, boy, I think I love you. I will see if your pig or if you were my pig based on how you taste. If you understand what I'm saying. But if
Yes.
I'm a pig and you're a pig and we jump in the bag, both of us are pigs in the bag.
That's it. So true.
And and then if we do it God's way, and I know that there's a perfect will of God and a permissive will of God, and in God's permissive will, um, not the husband and the wife, they aren't virgins. They may not be virgins when they get married, but You can't judge me and my performance based on John's performance because I ain't John.
Yes.
I am Alvin. All I could be is Alvin.
And I'm happy you
So
said
if
that. Go ahead.
yeah, because if you're trying to force me to be John, maybe you need to leave Alvin and go get John.
And that's powerful. That is so true. And that is why there are so many confusion in respect to relationships.
Hmm.
Because we do not set boundaries, Doc.
Oh,
No boundaries.
powerful. That's a
No boundaries.
powerful word, powerful
Yeah.
statement. Yes.
So we run and we test the water here, we test the water there. And the thing that people do not realize, when you walk away from the water that you tested, you connected there, you connected to the next, you connected to the next. Those are things that creates problem,
Yes.
because you're trying to get a satisfaction that you got. Uh, and a perfect example is when I heard about a guy, he started drugs and it was cocaine. That first high you never achieve ever again. So
Hmm.
when you try to get that same experience, you can. So you run, trying everything to get that same experience. But if you have boundaries set, you control your emotions, you control how you feel, and you don't allow that to control you. But we do not try to control ourselves. And we look at a person, yes, they may look good, but that is not yours. And I know there are men in the grave, and I'm kind of strong here, because of women, because every woman they look at, they felt that they want that one too. Lust control them,
And that's loss. Yes.
lust, you
Hmm.
know. But and then it's hard for them to build strong, meaningful relationship because they've been running after lust all their lives,
Hmm.
right? But if we stop long enough, get to know that person. And that is why I've heard people said when they start dating someone for the first time, especially young ladies that are of Christian um, belief, some of them do not go on a date alone with the other party.
Hmm.
They would take persons along if they're, if you feel you cannot control yourself, they would take persons along, and it's a 3 date. We go when we have ice cream or what have you. Um, that's only to help keep. If you can't control yourself, that's one way to help to do it.
Yes.
You know, so
Hmm.
the struggle out there with these relationships that are not built on love, it's real.
Yeah.
But persons must know that in order for you to move away from it, you have to do some things.
Mhm.
You have to do some
Yes.
things. You know,
Doc,
so
anyone who seeks to build a lasting relationship, um, and they build it on lust, they are like the foolish man that the Bible speaks about who built his house on the sand.
that's a good point. Definitely.
Because then, too, and we had this conversation some time ago, um, where I shared that Tanya, every once in a while she asks me, Alvin, you love me? And I say yes. And when she asks me to tell her why, I have to pause because I cannot answer that. I I I can't answer why I love her. Because if I say I love you because you're beautiful, what if something comes and disfigures her? Oh, I love you because you have perfect teeth. Well, we getting up there and teeth them falling out. um, I love you because you have the perfect curves. Well,
And
when you hit a certain age, those
everything goes
curves turn into something else. Everything goes south. Let's put it this way: gravity takes its course. So,
exactly.
so, so you would find that when you see man say, "Okay, I'm leaving this woman for somebody else who look better," Oh, you wasn't with her for love. That was
No.
a loss. You were
Yes.
only with her based on that desire, that lustful desire that you wanted to be filled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, now that she can no longer fulfill that, now you're trying to find somebody else to take that spot. But love, oh my Lord, love is a that's a different animal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the Bible says love is as strong as death.
Yes.
Wow, or even
Mm-hmm.
stronger than death. Love is the thing, Dr. Marie, that will make you every year go to the graveyard to put flowers on a tomb of
Mm-hmm.
someone who you know still can't see you, can't smell it, don't even know you've been there to do it.
Yes. Yes.
You know why you still do that? Because of a love relationship.
Yes. Yes.
Lust,
Yes. That's
I'm
powerful.
lucky to,
Yes. None.
but love will.
Yes. Wow. And that is so true because when you love someone, you want to spend time with them, right?
Mhm.
You want to spend long hours with them. You want to just be with them. Like you said, when you didn't hear from Tanya, you know, you an awareness. Oh, I haven't spoken to her. You always
Yeah.
want to have a conversation. You always want to be with that person, but for the good reason. That's the difference.
Yes.
With lust, you want to be with that person for the physical part of it.
Yes.
But when you
Yes.
are in love, it's for just to be together, to sit and talk, maybe walk together on the beach, buy ice cream, or just take a drive. That's the difference. Lust is on the opposite. You want to just
Yes.
get intimate. You want to just lie in bed all day. You want to go in a hotel room. That's not love.
No.
And that's where
No.
problem comes in. He
Yeah.
loves me because he want to be with me, or she loves me because they want to be with me, and we just want to spend time. No, check it out.
Mhm.
Is that enough for you? Like you said,
Yeah.
Doc, when gravity takes its course, then you find yourself, if you're the female, wondering why you have to be with somebody else. We have had a good thing going, but now you want to go for somebody younger, you know. So we have to be certain, 100% sure, that we know the person that we are getting into.
Mhm.
He may be one that hop, skip, and jump to every other woman. Do you know that? Did you take the
Mhm.
time to find him out?
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? He may not.
Yes.
He may have just come in, don't know how to treat a woman, but did you find that out? He may be a narcissistic person. Did you find that out?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
allow our emotion to control us and we find ourselves in problems. But my suggestion to persons that are looking for dating the first time, set your boundaries. Get to know the person first. Do not jump into anything intimate because love is not about, we say love, we feel good about love, but love is not based solely on feelings,
It's
emotional
based on a
feelings.
knowing.
Huh?
It's
It's
based
a
on a
knowing.
knowing. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
So your hormones could be jumping because the testosterone and the estrogen, they will jump because that's
Mhm.
that's natural. But the thing
Mhm.
is, know the individual that you are proposing to build a relationship with. And I
Yeah.
believe if most persons do that, then the relationship, you're gonna have a bit of the lust, you're gonna have lust in the love relationship
Mhm.
because you are testosterone and estrogen. That's gonna come. That's gonna happen in a love
Mhm.
relationship. But when we take it, knock it off balance, then
Mhm.
when one side is finished, it's over.
Yeah. Mhm. Um, if we say it this way, maybe it may make sense to our listening audience, that when we look at love and lust, lust should not be driving love.
Exactly.
Lust should never overpower love. Love should be the governing factor.
Yes.
And and I should always have an attraction. Oh boy, well, I'm a mathematician by profession and a civil engineer. When we look at sets, SET, that's a subject we study in math. We talk about subsets and all of that type stuff. Um, Lust is a subset of love, which means that lust can be contained in love, but love can be contained in lust.
And lust. There you go. That's a perfect example. Yes.
So there is a place for it, but that place for lust should not supersede love, because I should always be attracted to my wife.
Yes.
and
Yes.
and even though through time she will change, it is because of love being the governing factor. It causes my appetite to also change, and it happens to us naturally, like
Yes.
things that your body could have handled in its 20s. Like you could have eaten all
Hmm.
the fried fish, the fried chicken, all of that stuff. When you hit your 40s and 50s, your body now say, okay, now I that's enough of that.
That's right.
That all of them cake and stuff you used to eat, you need to stop that now.
Uh-huh. The
Because
body
now
dictates.
you're changing. Your body is now changing, and that's the same
Yes.
way. If love is governing lust, or your appetite will change as the relationship changes.
Yes.
And it's because some people is letting lust or their appetite supersede love.
Hmm.
When the relationship change, then they think that's their cue to exit the relationship and go find somebody else to
Exactly.
to
Wow.
fulfill that feeling. And that
That
is
is
wrong.
wow. That is, and something you need to say that again because that's exactly what that's putting it all in a nutshell. That's exactly what is happening when that
Yes.
relationship have finished with love because love with the lust because love is not governing that lust. Then it
Uh-huh.
feels that we need to look for someone else. I am
Yes, yes.
I am bored in this relationship.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't make me happy anymore. And I wish our listeners can let us know, talk to us, let us know, send us some questions in
Yeah.
respect to it. That is so true. You get to a point and you find the man say, man, I don't love her no more. You never loved her because
Yes.
it was lust. But you
Uh-huh.
thought it was love. You thought it was,
Because love never
you know,
dies.
it doesn't die.
Yeah.
It
Love
doesn't
never
die.
dies.
So
Yeah.
I, I pray that our um, young men and young women will do the right thing when they are looking for a spouse. Don't not, and you can do it because if you see someone that you're interested in, okay, for example, we set, um, uh, we have goals. The type man or the type woman I'm looking for must be tall, dark, handsome, all of this.
Hmm.
Must have money and all of the good stuff. So
Hmm.
first one we see, oh, this is him. This is what I desire. But do you know that person? See, we look for the outward. Do you know that person?
Yeah.
Do you know him well enough that you want, or her well enough that you want to build a relationship? So because you see that person with the qualities that you've been looking for, then you just give yourself away. And then you find out that was a mistake, right?
Hmm.
We should not allow the looks and all that we're looking for to drive us into a relationship. Similar to the
Mhm.
the love governing lust, we should not allow what we look in the outer part of that person actually. The qualities we should be looking for is whether they, how they treat themselves, how they treat their parents, are they respectful? So you got to look at all of these other qualities. The outward part of it is not enough to go into a
Well, the
lasting
outward,
relationship.
mhm, for and the saying is true. The outward part is just skin deep,
Skin deep.
and that's very shallow. That's very,
Right.
very shallow because skin
Yes.
can, you go out in the sun too long and your skin change on you.
Right.
Skin deep.
Then
Love,
what?
suffer it long, and is kind.
Yes.
Love, envy it not. It does not prevail itself. It's not unseemly. It's not rude. It seeketh not its own. That's love.
That's love.
All of those things, though, lust seeks after. Lust wants his
Yes.
own. Lust have one desire. I must be
That's right.
fulfilled. I am hungry. Fulfill me.
That's right.
Love says, I may be hungry, but I see you hungry too. I can make sure you okay.
You're okay. That's right. That's right. And I believe if we are really conscious or looking or know what we're really looking for, we will not jump to give ourselves away to someone who may not deserve it,
Mhm.
right? Poor judgment, no deep connection. You know, at the end of the day, you will not even feel like you accepted by that person because you don't know her, you don't know him. And
Yeah.
a lot of people find themselves right there. But I would encourage our listeners, you know, that are maybe looking for a spouse, that are maybe looking to build relationship, or they're now ready to start a relationship. Make sure, set your boundaries. Make a list of what you would want to see before you get into that relationship. Determine what you are not going to do, right? You know, a line that is often used, oh, if you love me, you will sleep with me. You will do this with me. Well, if that's the only way to prove your love to that person, I am sorry. That ain't the one.
So true. Because then, why have, boy? That's the difference between love and lust. Lust wants it and wants it now. Love suffer it long.
No.
Love. So even when I counsel people and I hear things along the line, of, oh, he said, if you love me, you'll do this for me. If you love me, you'll sleep with me. Well, if and you said it earlier, if you set your boundaries, love honors that. Love
That's right.
then says, listen, um, be be because you don't want to go any further, because I love you and respect you, I won't go any further. But I
That's right.
want you to know that there is still an appetite,
Yeah, that's it. But
but
you said
that appetite will not be governing me.
right. That's right. And
Mhm.
that is so good. And I think our young persons need to know that, if he cannot wait or she cannot wait for you, then keep moving on.
Let them move on.
Keep moving on. That's right. And
Yep.
then if he is the one for you, he will find you in the right way, you know. But uh,
Mhm.
don't just sell yourself cheap, you know. Don't and I want our audience especially to hear, the Gen Zs, to hear this. Do not sell yourself cheap. Lust is only temporary. Love is always forever, you know.
Yes.
And that's what you
Powerful.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. That's what we want to have. And if we can get to that point where we are not allowing the lust to control us, you will see a lot of beautiful relationships, healthy relationships. But
Mhm.
somebody has spoiled what relationship should be like. And only right now, only some people finding it. There are others who feel that everyone is doing this, so I can do it too. Mm-mm. We have to draw the line. You be different.
Yeah.
I always tell our young people, you don't follow the crowd. You create your own pathway,
Yes.
and you'll find that it's much better. Like someone said, don't let them create your world for you. You create your own world,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and you will be pleased with what you've created.
Mhm.
So, Dr. Alvin, what advice would you give to someone that is now um, wanting to get into a meaningful relationship, but do not want to be controlled by lust? I know all that
Okay.
we have said, but you're speaking to a specific person.
Hmm.
And how can they start? They've done that before. How can they now start on the right path to a healthy relationship?
Hmm. For that to be a healthy relationship, there first must be a healthy you. There must be a healthy you. And I recognize, Doc, what love is, because when I was by myself, I was loving myself.
Good stuff.
Um, so you will find that people, they are drawing to them persons who don't love them because they are still struggling with loving themselves.
Wow.
But
Wow.
if you love yourself, if you treat yourself right, then anybody else who come in a spirit of lust, you can say, that ain't it. That is not what I want. I could
Hmm.
I it's Tyler Perry who, how about that movie? I could do bad all by myself. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What you are offering, um, I could do that by myself. I don't need that. And see,
Hmm.
the Bible puts it this way, and it took me quite some time to understand the text, Doc. Um, John says it this way: we love him because he first loved us.
Yes. Catch that.
Wow, that's
That's right.
powerful.
It is.
Well, God taught us all about
How
this thing about love, how it should be
that,
done.
that's right.
So in me loving God, he revealed Alvin to Alvin and caused me then to love Alvin. So when Tanya came in my life and I saw that, oh wow, she is doing the things that Alvin will do for Alvin,
Hmm.
then maybe Tanya loves Alvin too. Then, and this all happens on that journey. This happens on that journey. This is not at first sight.
No, no.
This happens on
It,
that journey.
it takes time, like we sing the song.
Yes,
It takes
yes, it
time.
takes time. Uh-huh. And then I realized then that I could pass the the tools to Tanya, that Tanya could love Alvin, and she could have passed the tools to Alvin for Alvin to love Tanya. Mind
Powerful.
you, I do make mistakes with the tools, and she do make mistakes with the tools, but because we know that it is not like it is a mistake, it was an accident, it's not intentional, then love covers that. For
Yes.
love covers a multitude of faults. um so to the person out there who's wondering, um what should they do, I say to them, before you try to let somebody in to love you, you love you.
Good advice.
And when you start loving you, you won't gonna let nobody mistreat you because you
Hmm.
have your boundaries. You
Good
you
advice.
you have your identity. You know who you are, and therefore, when people come in your life, you say, you won't cross that boundary.
Hmm.
But when you have low self-esteem, when you don't know who you are, you can then mix up love with lust.
Yes.
And it's lust that causes you to go from bed to bed. That ain't love.
No.
Love says, I'm in one bed and I'm in one bed for the rest of my life.
Mm. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so to that person out there, and not just and I'm not just talking to the females, I'm talking to the males too, because people think, oh, let the man go and sow his oats. No, that's not what this is all about. It's all about finding that one person that you can spend the rest of your life with.
Mm.
That one person will or may never be a perfect person. So that's where love comes in. Love makes up the difference.
What you that a relationship that may have started out with all lust, to hear it later change what the trajectory that they were on, then there is hope for those relationships. Because the first
Yes,
thing they must do is love themselves.
yes, yes. And when you said it so perfect earlier in this in the talk show, setting boundaries. Once you set love is not going to cost me to try to get you to disrespect yourself.
Mm, good stuff.
Love will honor you and your boundaries.
That's right.
So if you say to me, this is as far as I'm going to go, then that's as far as I go because I love you and I respect you. But love
Mhm.
says, listen, I ain't stop until I satisfy. Love says, I can stop because you are satisfied.
Right.
Wow.
Powerful. Powerful.
Powerful.
Powerful. And that's as putting it in a nutshell as we possibly can. That is all that is. But the thing that would drive us away is when we do not control our emotions. If
Yes.
we can control our emotions and know when our boundary to set to make sure that our boundaries are adhered to, then everything else will fall right into place.
Mhm.
That is remarkable.
Yes.
So all
Yeah.
relationships that are probably going through something, I'm not saying all of them are maybe on lust, but the younger generation, and you know what, it can be because if you married someone that is used to running with woman after woman, that person may be in a life of lust. The wife may not be, or the husband may not, but vice versa. But
Hmm.
you're dealing with a situation where they cannot come to grip with love and they're satisfying the flesh. But the flesh one day will give up on you.
Yes.
The flesh will fail you.
Mm.
Because that's why they
All
have
the
to go.
time.
That's why they have to make the blue pill to give support. But if
Hmm.
you have that genuine love, because your spouse want to give love to you, love you, right? Then regardless of what state you find yourself in, they will love you. But if you are jumping for the wrong reason, you're going to be left behind. You're going to be left a lonely person. And then that is why we find that uh, another person can step in only for the material stuff and has to do with love. They want what they can get out of that relationship or what they can get from you. And once they get that, you on your own.
Yeah.
So let us be wise about our relationship. To my audience, we need to just be wise on how we date, be responsible, and that will cut down, I believe, a big chunk of our relationship that end in divorce. If we get to know one another, if we take time to know our significant other prior to marriage, then whatever comes along, because you know that person, you would be willing to continue to love them. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what the way we see love or lust, and
Yes.
how differentiated. Love is not obsessive. Lust
No.
is,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Doc, what is your final words to our listening audience?
Yes, like I was saying earlier, Doc, love yourself. Love yourself. Treat yourself. If you're single, one of the problems in our world, Doc, is that the married people trying to get single and the single people trying to get married. We never stop and enjoy where we are, the stage in life that we're in.
Yes,
And that's what everyone needs to do. Like we used to say back in the day, stop and smell the roses. Enjoy where you are, embrace where you are, so that when the change comes, you are not sitting in the change wishing that you were or you are where you were. No,
yes,
it doesn't work that way. Wherever you are,
no,
embrace it and enjoy it. So if you're single, looking for someone, embrace that opportunity, and in that time spend as much time with you as you can, because
that's
when
right.
another individual comes in, then that changes.
That's
And
right.
then too, when you start having children, it change again. Then
Mm-hmm.
that change when you have grandchildren. Then that
Yes.
change when a sickness or a death of a loved one or something like that. Life is always moving.
Con-
Enjoy where you are, embrace where you are, and
yes.
and and continue moving. But make sure, like Dr. Maria said, you have those boundaries set. You
Yes.
know what who you are, and you know what you can handle, what you can't handle, and you govern yourselves accordingly. And anyone who truly loves you, when they come into your life, they will respect you with your boundaries, with your limitations. And guess what? As you grow in the journey, some of those boundaries change.
Yes. Yes.
Because Tanya and I were friends and we became more than friends, I couldn't even hold a hand. Doc, she told me only
Mm-hmm.
two men has ever hold her hand, and that was her father and her brother. So I had to respect
Good.
her and not hold her hand. Then she
That's
allowed me
good.
to hold her hand. Then we go on from holding hand and we could hug.
Mm-hmm.
This is months later, but that was a part of the process. Because I loved her, I had to respect who she was and her boundaries. And that even now causes me to love her more because she stood up for who she was and refused to move.
I love that. I love that. Set the boundaries. And I want to add to that, Doc. If some, especially our young female, if you set boundaries, you heard what Doc said. He appreciates her more now for what she has
Mhm.
done. And it will be the same thing. But when you can be bought cheap, there's no value placed on you. And that's why you can feel like you're not accepted. But set some boundaries.
Yeah,
Let that man love you for who you are and stop selling out cheap. Because love is
yeah,
beautiful, but we must first start with ourselves. I love what Doc said. We must love ourselves first. And when you can appreciate you, love you, then you would appreciate the love coming back to you from the other person. But never let it be the lust that is driving you into a relationship. Let love
Yes.
govern the lust in your relationship or your
Yes.
friendship. So it
Yes.
was good being with you today. And if you have questions, please send it in to us. You're listening to the Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. So thank you for listening to us this evening.